Hello everybody and welcome back to Lucky by Nature, and today we are going to be going over the MEK. And look at this beauty. Came out red, which is a color that you can get it in automatically. But if you notice, it has a blaster on the left hand and a sword on the right. And first thing we need to look at is you need to be at level 91 to be able to unlock this. And it comes in at a level 51, and it doesn't really take that many resources, to be honest. I think it's definitely fairly cheap, except for the polymer. But to go with the MEK, at level 93 you can unlock the Deployable Shield, and at level 95 the rocket launcher, and of course you can build the rockets. And then all the way down to level 97 you can make the CH cannon along with the cannon shells, and this is by far the best one here. And of course all this stuff can be built on the tech replicator, which you have to go and unlock on a different map because you can't do it on Extinction. But now let's take a look at the blaster. You can shoot it. It shoots three I don't know, energy balls or whatever you want to call them. And in order to use this on computer, you right click to aim the blaster and you left click to fire. But on Xbox, it's actually, you use the left trigger to aim and the right trigger to shoot. And if we go over to the sword you can actually swing it. If you just use your right trigger, or in the case of the computer, the PC, you can use the left click, and you can actually control which one you do. As you can see right here, I'm just hitting the button and it's just going all over the place. But if you move forward, as you can see, it'll lunge and it'll stab. If you move slightly to the left or push the button to the left and the fire button, it goes to the left, and the same thing for the right. So it all depends on what exactly you're trying to do. But you do have pretty good control of the sword. But now let's move on to something more exciting. With this guy you can actually jump, as you can see, and you don't use up any fuel or anything like that. I mean, the most you use is just a little bit of stam, which is not a big deal. And don't forget that you're inside it, so the reason you use up stam is because of the fact that the little human inside has to do all the stuff that the robot's gonna do, basically. But as you can see, if you hold A, or on PC is the spacebar, you can actually float or hover. But you just have to worry about the heat. As you can see, the legs look like they're on fire. So basically, it's very limited. And once you overheat, you just have to wait until the heat goes back down, which, as you can see on the bottom left corner there, you can see the fuel gauge and the heat gauge, I guess you can call them. Another cool thing is that you don't sustain any fall damage, which is a huge plus. Apparently quite a few things here on this map have that ability. But another thing that we need to take a look at is the fuel. How do you get fuel? Well, one thing for sure is that you cannot use shards, element shards, or element dust. As you can see here, I'm trying to use element dust and it doesn't work. So the only thing that will provide you basically fuel is actual elements. And now you see the fuel gauge go back up. Also, another thing to know about the hover is that you can hover even on high places. So it's not based off the ground. It's based off of wherever you're at, as you can see, as long as you don't overheat. Otherwise you would end up falling to the bottom, but it's not a big deal because it doesn't sustain any damage. Now, looking at the modules, when you put any module onto your little module slot, In this case, we're going to be using the shield. And in order to use it, all you have to do is, if you're on the Xbox, you got to press the right little thumbstick. Or on PC, I believe it's the C. But as you can see, it goes up. But also, I wanted to test to see if I could shoot out of it. You cannot. Although dinos can come and go without any issues. I'm going to show you here that little guy right there. I think it's a trike. As you can see, it can go right through the shield. And then we can jack it up. But another thing that I was wondering is, what about certain projectiles, or like, for instance, arrows? Let's try arrows. I got some fire arrows here. And let's see if I can shoot out of this. And it doesn't look like we can. It looks like they're getting stuck right there. So that's a no-go. The only thing I don't know is if you can actually shoot rockets out of here, but obviously we would not be able to do it, because I believe that if you change it, if you change the module, the shield will go down. But hey, what the heck? Let's go ahead and give it a shot. I wish I had some shotgun, but I just don't think that that would go through either. The only thing that could possibly go through that I'm thinking of is probably the rockets, and not even the shell cannon type thing. Oops, pressed the wrong one. All right, so let's go ahead and try this one. And I think the shield goes down. So yeah, I just wanted to make sure, that we covered everything we needed to. Another thing about the shield is that if you walk out of the shield, that little disc will come up back to you. See, that's kind of cool. So if you have friends with you, obviously the person that sets up the shield will have to stay inside. But also, sounds like something's kind of mad at me. But also, one other thing that you need to know is that whenever... Oh, what the heck is going on there? Man, this guy's interrupting my little... Let me just kill it. That's some pretty good damage there. But it's interrupting my little lesson here. So this is the shell cannon, or the siege cannon. And wow, look at that type of damage. And it looks like it's pretty accurate. Exactly where you aim, that's where you hit. So you gotta realize that things are further than they may appear. Because if I were to aim at that, trying to kill the... well, I got one of the dillos. But let me go ahead and aim at that bottom of that tree. And bullseye. Look at that. So I think that this is probably my favorite. The other thing that you need to know is that whenever you are under siege mode, you do end up sustaining more damage than when you're not. As you saw, I went from 77 to 119 or so. So be aware of that. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, if you're under serious attack, that could be a problem. So if you're gonna be the person that's gonna be in siege mode, make sure you're in the back. Also, another important factor is whenever you change the modules, they do end up wearing out. As you can see here, and when you take it off, we lost about 1200 durability, which is insane. So now we're down to 200. But I think that we can still fire quite a few rockets, actually. Let me test it out, which, by the way, this is like the worst, in my opinion, just because I think this is set up more for larger targets, because, yeah, it's just not that great. But watch what happens when I take this off. See, boom, that thing is done. So yeah, whenever you unequip modules, it damages them. Now moving on into the repairing of your mech. This basically repairs itself, but you can enable the auto repair. And let me jump on there. And as soon as you get off, you have somewhere around 9 or 10 seconds before it activates. As you can see, it's got 3 seconds left. And all right, so it's activated. And if we take a look at the health, you can see how it moves up quick. Then it takes a few little ticks here and there, and then all of a sudden, boom. Another way that you can repair your mech is by using a scout. As you can see, once you get close to it, it's got the little hands moving all crazy, and you see the little plus signs up on top. And that's basically you repairing your mech. Now, this is probably the most exciting thing. And we're looking at the Mega Mech, which it takes 4 regular mechs to build that thing. But there's something you need to know. You can't just build it. It won't just build by itself. And if you spawn it, that is what happens. They self-destruct. Now this thing is massive. I don't really know how you can build something so big out of 4 of these little teeny tiny guys. But it does happen. But what you need is this. You need this to have it on one of the mech's modules. So in this situation, I'm carrying it, so I would put this on the module. And as long as there's 3 other mechs here in the area, as soon as the Alpha King Titan shows up, that is when it actually builds the Mega Mech. So here, let me go ahead and put it on here, and you'll see what it says. As you can see, it basically says that there's 1 in the area, but it needs 3 others. And don't forget, the only way that it can build is if the Alpha King Titan appears. So the other thing is, where do you get this module from? The only place that you can get it from is the Beta King Titan. So they definitely wanted to make sure that you couldn't use one of these things on official, because it could be devastating. I mean, personally, I don't think that this thing is all that impressive, because basically all you have is melee. I mean, you can either punch or you can swing the sword. And basically, you just have to do that with the King Titan, with the Alpha King Titan, like I said before. And look at the difference between the sizes. I mean, this thing is not even as big as a leg or something, you know. It reminds me of like Voltron, where you would have, you know, the 5 lions or whatever. But yeah, like I said, if you have 3 more of these, you could barely make the 2 legs, I would say. But anyways, the only reason that it's not self-destructing right now is because I had to put infinite stats on it. So if you are on single player and you just want to go goof around with it, like I said, it's not very fun. But anyways, I think this video is long enough. So that's it for me. Until next time, keep surviving.
My work saved the human race.